Chat, just bear with me. I'm just going to set up my title so people know it's a live Snapcast podcast.
As of right now, apparently I need to do ASL for you to understand me.
ASL, A-sex location?
Oh, dear God.
You got to remember my age. ASL means age, sex, and location.
No, but to the rest of the world, it technically means American Sign Language.
Oh, American Sign Language. Okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Guys, I took it as ASL, which is age, sex, and location.
Okay, they can't hear me.
Days. No, they can't. And they about to. You ready?
Yeah, turn my ass on. Giggity. Pause.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marvel Snapcast Podcast. I'm your host, Ken, aka the SuperTechGod. And of course, it's my 2-year partner anniversary stream. And it was awesome of the one and only It's Guest Gaming, the Mr. Sax Party himself, the Brainiac of the crew to be here. Brainiac of the crew, especially after seeing that Superman trailer.
Yeah.
We're here to help celebrate and bring it to you live on this first time ever 4K episode, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so guess, how you doing, my friend? Hope all is well.
I am doing fantastic. I have been doing a lot of editing, a lot of messing around with, trying to better my system and my stream for the future, because I'm trying to prepare, as I know you are as well. The future of streaming is right around the corner in 2 different dimensions. 4K streaming is coming for Twitch as well as vertical. Are you good? Are you doing this again where I don't even get to say my damn sentences and you're just like, bam, and then you just like cut it in there. 4K streaming. Okay, sir,
I'm sorry.
You don't finish them. You just like jump on in them. Like I don't even get to say it. Here, what's my opinion of Captain Carter? Just go, man.
No, I'll keep it quiet. But yes, speaking of which, we have awesome topics to talk about today. And that is, of course, starting with Captain Carter, Goliath, Snap Packs, our OTA wishes. We miss ... And of course, questions and answers from the one and only chat.
So this is that preemptive moment that we tell the live chat who's watching right now. Hey, y'all got maybe 45 minutes or so, we'll guesstimate, maybe more-ish, I don't know, until we start pointing to you where our content is dependent on you having questions. So you've got time.
Correct.
And it could be about Marvel Snap. It could be about us. Just, go for it. That's the full on AMA. We're throwing that out there. And you know what? If this works out well in the future, maybe we'll continue this on different channels and try out different things. But, this is a first experiment on several different things, just like our first experiments with Captain Carter. Segue, go.
Yes. So Captain Carter, damn, I was going to ask you a question before we get into Captain Carter.
Oh,
can I ask you a question still?
I guess so.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I did ask this to smooth in the chat. So I'm going to ask you as well.
Okay.
All right. Ready for the question?
Sure.
In front of you is a bowl of 1,000 grapes.
Yes.
If you eat one of these grapes, you get $100,000 deposited directly into your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
There is one catch, however. 999 of them are totally fine. Just regular old red grapes. Seedless, of course. One of them, however, has seeds and is poisonous. You eat it, you will die instantly. How many grapes will you eat?
0. Plain and simple.
There you go. A lot of people out here, some people took chances.
No way, because I am married. I have kids. I have family. I have, look, the 1 in 1,000 chance. It's bad enough I get on the road and drive. It's bad enough that I get on a plane and fly to SnapCon. It's bad enough that I go out and walk the streets of Brazil. I already got my 1 in 1,000 daily. I'm good. I don't need a grape to add that on to my necessity of roll the dice. Ha ha. Just no, thank you. Not for me. Nope. Enjoy your grapes.
But those other items don't give you $100,000 still.
Yeah, but they also keep me alive.
That's fair. Yeah. So the question was, because some people said, listen, they eat 4, they eat 5. Some people said after 10, they're going to stop. Here's the fun part, though. If you were to eat some, would you put a whole bunch in your mouth at one time and just hope you don't pass out? Or would you still go one by one, sweating each time?
if you told me that I have to eat like 10 grapes, I'm literally just one-shotting it. I'm not taking the chance of like,
in your mouth.
Because one of two things could also happen. I could die and get the money deposited, which means the will is really looking good for the family if I absolutely had to do that. True. So, hey, they're going to college, or one of them at least, knowing today's prices. One of them's going to college. So, fair point. It'd have to be like 100 million. We'll talk though. But
okay, that's perfect. Thank you for the question. Chat, give me your answers down in chat. I'm intrigued to see what you guys say. Now, on to Captain Carter. I agree. This is the season pass card. The Captain Carter, to me, 1000% is a silver card. This is one of the first battle pass cards to me that I do not think reached the mark. My only question, though, really depends on your answer, chat or guess. When you play Captain Carter and she is either the third or fourth card in the back row, does she still buff the adjacent card next to her, or that buff only takes place if she's in 1 and 2? She does buff the card
anywhere in position 3 or position 4. She will buff position 4 or position 3.
Okay, so then she gets a gold. Then she's not a silver; she gets a gold. Because the problem with her, and what I feel, is having to try to play her early enough and not get her is hard. Right? If there's no other card like Thaddeus that's going to guarantee you a pull, it's hard to just play her on the final turn. But thanks for telling me that she does buff the adjacent card if she is played on the final turn. So that's not too bad. So I'm going to keep her at a gold. But this is the first time in a long time that a battle pass card, probably since Miles Morales, isn't, at a high tier. And, I feel probably another card this month could have been the battle pass card. But I'm gonna let Guess go ahead. Tell me, Guess, how do you feel about Captain Carter?
So this gives me very heavy symbiote Spider-Man vibes, right? Whenever we have a card that drops and it's like, look, you have a very narrow window of play condition to get the potential out of this card, like symbiote Spider-Man did. Everyone's like, oh, let's make the thing happen. And then they make it happen once and like, yeah, this is cool. And then you look at the consistency of that thing happening. And you just kind of go, uh-oh, we have a problem. And that's what this is. Right. This is an inconsistency problem. The card is unique, which is what Symbiote Spider-Man was. Phoenix Force, exact same thing. Another card of great comparison to this, where it was something completely unique. And we're like, what do we do here? This is the card of now what do you do? Because it has drastically underperformed. The second people are hitting Infinite already in the first couple days of the season, they're forgetting the card even exists because it's just that inconsistent. It's either not enough power, too late, awkward. Something needs to be done to make this card more appealing. And I like that the mechanic is this whole back row mechanic. The problem is getting it in specifically position 1 or 2 to then maximize the potential on getting things behind it in positions 3 and 4 is a lot more daunting of a task than I think the player base and the devs necessarily were expecting. I think they were looking at this to be cool and unique, and that was the catch for it, rather than what's the playability of the actual card. Because sure, you can buff it up. You can get it to be a 4/5 of real easy with Agony and Forge and all these other, 2 power mechanics, which then means the total power output in the lane of the card, if it puts on 5 to 2 cards behind it, is then 15. And that's great. Right. It's just really, really, really awkward to do it. And I think that this card needs to be tweaked already. And this is going to be, and I if I had to make a guess based on the impression of how often I'm seeing it in ladder, which is not very often, and
not at all, right?
Yeah, and the community sentiment about it too, I expect this to be another mid-season buffed season pass, because I think we've got some really cool cards this month. And then this might be the most lackluster we've had in a while, because you want the season pass card to be a really good card for financial reasons. If you're second dinner, obviously, maybe not the best card of the month, but gotta be at least top 3 out of 5. It has to be. And if this is the starting point right now, it might position to 5 when all is said and done. And that's really bad if that's the paid option. So I don't even know, how do you, that's my first question to you, and I'll throw it out to the live chat as well. If you adjust this, how do you adjust this? Because if you made it even just a 4-4, it's regularly a 4-12 in the lane. And I've gone back and forth about if this is too strong of a mechanic to think about. And I don't think at 4 cost, it's unjustified to make it a 4-4, because we have Ares, where Ares goes from 4-6 to 4-12 due to RNG of what cards are left in the deck, what's the highest possible, lowest possible math. And obviously, if you use deck trackers, then it's a lot easier to kind of get that prediction. But either way, that's potentially a 4-12 that you play later on in the game. So you might be able to justify a 4-4 for Captain Carter. Otherwise, if you reduce her cost, is she even good at 3-3?
No, back to what chat's saying to it, as I'm seeing here, putting her at the 3 cost, we definitely going to see in a Surfer deck, and I don't think that's what we want, or a second in the ones right now. I think she has to stay at a 4 cost 100%, and I think buffing her power might have to be it, right? Because at that point, somebody goes, hey, 4-4, I get to put a 4 Iron Man or 4 this or 4 that. I think that's more appealing, and you won't be that too upset getting it on the last turn and making it your 1 card to play with another card on turn 6. So I think 4-4 would be the way to go, or buffing her power is the only way to make her a better card without making her a broken card. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's such a very delicate dial because of how unique her mechanic is. The only other thing I can think of, which I would imagine there's got to be some mathematical nightmare somewhere in this, is maybe removing the condition of she can't buff herself in some way, where it's like she starts as a 4-3 and her final position, if she's in the back row, is a 4-6, but only 3 obviously goes to the other position. So, but I can only imagine there's going to be chaos like that. Imagine Zabu got played and you're playing both of them in the same lane, this and like a Mystique, on the final turn. Like, I think there's some really weird things that could happen with that possible looping, but if they can navigate it, I think that might save her a little bit, because then she's at least a base 4-6 if you let her buff herself, right, at minimum. So I like it. I don't know. It's got to be difficult.
Her home right now is definitely ongoing, whether it be Doom 2099 or something with Iron Man. I think that's where her home is right now. But even that, I'm not too keen on it. So I got to give it a gold for now. They got to make a change to her.
It's silver.
What about you? How do you feel? What's your rating?
Silver. She's.
It was silver first, but I was like, once she still buffs the card, I'll give her the gold. Then we move on to the next card. You guys in chat, we're reading in chat. For Sean, welcome on in. Yes, we're talking about Symbiote Spider-Man, the same card that you went and had the spotlight on. It definitely does feel like Symbiote Spider-Man vibes, because didn't they buff Symbiote Spider-Man mid-season as well? So it definitely have that vibe. So I totally agree with Guess on that one. Now we're going to the second card that came out this month, and my favorite card. I'm having a blast with it thus far, and that's Goliath. I was able to climb with it. I'm at 84 with the list. Goliath, and of course a bunch of other amazing cards, Blue Marvel, Gilgamesh, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Goliath is such a, we said this on the last podcast, Goliath is such a great card. We were scared of it. Yeah. And I think everybody feels the same way. And Goliath is probably in the running for the best card this season.
It 1000% will be made a 2-0. It 1000% will be made a 2-0. There's no way that this stays at 2-1. And Sure.
Yes.
That makes it even more appealing in negative, which it's already good in. But
yeah,
honestly, you're going to have to do that because this is a card that you play in ongoing builds, plain and simple. You just any ongoing build, any Dr. Doom, Doom 2099 build, any Sam Wilson build.
Yeah.
That has.
Yeah. That's what play. Yeah.
Even 4 ongoings with one of those aforementioned ongoings. I mean, this is easy 2-5, 2-6, 2-7. I'm getting this thing up right now in ongoing decks to like 2-9, 2-10. Like, this is just stupid. This is stupid.
And when you play with Moonstone, it's even crazier, right?
I know. Like, it's a little so busted.
But yes, nerf in 2 months? No, Sheba, nerf in 2 weeks. I think it's going to get nerfed way sooner than expected. Yeah. Should it have been the season pass card? I don't think so.
No.
Captain Carter has more appeal because she is the what if season. That's the focus. She was season 1, episode 1. So the only other card that probably could have been, well, 2 other cards would have been Kahari because she had like the whole second season to herself. Right. And then Infinity Ultron would probably could have been the other one that they could have made the season pass card. But Captain Carter was a great choice. Everybody knows that name. Everybody knows that card. Everybody loves that Captain America what if swap. So I totally get it. But yeah, Goliath to me definitely gets a double platinum. And when he does get nerfed, he's still going to be great. It's just such a great card and such a great mechanic that I mean, after this week, when people stop playing Super Scroll and Enchantress and Rogue, he's going to definitely just take off and it's going to be such a good thing. So double platinum for me. Guess, how do you feel? And chat, you let us know what your ratings are for Captain Carter. We go plastic, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. That's our rating scale. So I said gold for Carter and Guess said silver. And I'm saying double platinum for Goliath. How you feel?
I'll give it a solid platinum. I mean, it's got one really good home with small variation, scaling downward. Like, you go all in on ongoings and you keep that in your deck. And then the further you remove more of those ongoings, obviously the weaker the card is. So even if you're running, like I said, 4 or 5 of them in one deck, which is more than regularly doable, it's got incredibly good value. So for a 2-cost card, regularly at 2-6 or 7, I mean, you got to give it a good rating. So it's at least a platinum. Agreed. In ongoing decks, it's a diamond, but like overall, I'll say it's a platinum.
That's fair. Mark says gold. Okay, so April Fool's said Dum Dum Dugan is the mid-season buff to Carter. I don't remember what Dum Dum Dugan does. Do you remember what he does? Chat, let us know what he does. I don't remember.
Doesn't he buff the front line?
You don't remember? Oh, yeah, he's the opposite. That's right. Okay, yeah, so I'm not even worried about it. Goliath Platinum, yeah, for sure. And then, of course, Loon Slaughter says Captain Carter buff will make her be a cap so she get buffed by the shield. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
No. I love watching how this conversation has erupted.
Thank you, fools.
Specifically, like the shield for Captain Carter versus the shield for Cap, right?
Yeah, she's Captain Britain.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. She's Captain Britain, and she should not be able to fully wield the power of Captain America's exact specific shield. And
correct.
I don't know if you saw in the team answers, the answer put out by Glenn, where somebody asked in the team answer.
I know Glenn
no, it was even better. It was better than I could have ever imagined, because someone asked that exact question. Why didn't you make Cap's shield buff Captain Carter? All he did was took a screenshot of the bottom of the card where it says Captain America's shield, specifically to emphasize that it's Captain America, just like how Sam Wilson Captain America or Captain America will do it. And before the rest of the world goes, wait a minute, this is what if though Captain Carter is kind of sort of maybe playing the role of Captain America, sort of. No, it's Captain Britain. The shield is different. That shield is why it doesn't synergize. And if you look at a majority of the Captain Carter comics, you'll see, I almost said the Jolly Roger. Jesus Christ. The British flag, which name has now, because now Jolly Roger's stuck in my head. The British flag, I apologize to my fellow Brits who are laughing at this random American who could not remember. Union Jack versus Jolly Roger. Something with Jack.
Union Jack.
You know, the Union Jack on the shield. Thank you, Live.
Thank you, guys.
See, now I really like having the live chat because they just save my ass right there.
They let us see up.
But
they let us know we're wrong.
But if the shield were to buff onto Captain Carter, I think we could end up with a really dangerous card then. Because that duo of having 2 season passes have that strong of a synergy together, I feel like could potentially be a problem. I don't think we want any of that to happen. And and you could open down the whole path of US Agent of like, well, did he technically use the shield for a point and then runs away with it? Like, yeah, but he also had it taken away from him. And then you could try to, I don't know. It's just, you go down this whole lore comic book MCU rabbit hole.
It becomes something else because
it's not the answer. Either way, the problem with the card is greater than the argument of which picture is on the shield.
Correct. I totally agree with that. And that's what we come down to. But it's totally fine, guys. As we said, Goliath and of course, Captain Carter, some great cards. And I think if you have to make a decision, if you want to pick up that battle pass, I say, think about it. Maybe you can get a wonderful free battle pass from one of your favorite content creators doing giveaways. And shout out to Kidley Chan rating in on the live wonderful Marvel Snapcast podcast on my 2-year partnerversary. Kidley Chan, thank you very much for rating. I appreciate it. Your community, welcome on in, everybody. And I was able to meet Kidley Chan at SnapCon too.
Yes.
Wonderful individual. Make sure you guys go ahead when we give her that shout out and hit that heart button. Thank you. I appreciate that, Kidley. Thank you very much. So speaking of cards, guys, in the near future, whether it be the end of this month or the beginning of June, right before that beautiful Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, Marvel Snap Packs will be introduced to the game. Had to laugh with the Switch 2. Snap Packs is huge, guys. This is something that I think Second has been working on for a while after getting all that wonderful feedback in regards to the Spotlight keys. And this is going to make a big change to players that are new and up and coming and players who took a break. It's going to be great for them. Those like myself and guests who have been playing the game forever, not too good for us, but we don't care. We want people to be able to catch up. And when we make deck videos and post 20 decks like guest does every new week, we want you guys to be able to say, hey, I can pick up this card by doing X, Y, and Z. So Snap Packs, I'm super pumped about it. I do hope it come out earlier, but if it takes time and they need to work on it to tooth comb it and make sure it's good to go, definitely take that time to do so. But when it does release, guys, this is going to be another way for everyone to be able to get the card that they want, or of course, take that chance with the grapes and go ahead and spend extra X tokens to try and get older cards along with the newer card. So after reading the blog and taking a look at it, guess, what is your take on Snap Packs? Kind of briefly explain to the chat what are the cool benefits of the Snap Packs.
Okay. I'm going to be really
I said briefly.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot to unpack, no pun intended. With all the puns intended, because the most important thing with the implementation of this system, to me at least, is the extremes of the player base. And that's both the brand new players as well as the longtime veterans like yourself and myself, where this system is going to benefit both of us and everybody in between in different degrees specifically. So I think especially from a content creator's perspective, one of the biggest strifes that we suffer is having to tell our chat, yeah, you can make this deck if you've been playing for at least 6 months to a year, maybe. Sure. Because, targeting or trying to accelerate to get cards is ridiculously annoyingly difficult in this game, and getting those cards for tokens, even the series 3 cards, it never felt good. But now with the system of Snap Packs and the different varieties of Snap Packs that we have the new series 5-pack, the new Series 4-pack, and Series 3, 4, and 5-pack if it's anything older than a month and a half, or sorry, older than 2 months old. Like, the ability to target these different cards is a lot more refined, specifically in a 2-month window, and being able to weigh your options of when you open a pack and when you don't, or when do you pay to specifically get only the card of that week for 6,000 tokens, or do you open a pack for 5,000 tokens, or do you wait 2 months and then let it drop into the regular Series 5-pack for, whatever. So
X amount of tokens, right?
Yeah. So there's some cool things with that I think the system's really going to have to break down, which is why I've been bothering the living hell out of anybody and everybody that I know in Second Dinner, trying to pull up as much information as possible on this. So
about this, agreed.
I will reveal what I know about Snap Packs, which is that I will know a hell of a lot more after I talk to certain people from Second Dinner. And when the second I know, I will talk to you, the community, with clearance to say, hey, this is what I know. But as of right now, I don't know what I don't know. And a lot of us don't know, more importantly. So I feel like, as someone who's series complete, watching the rate of packs increase, because we're going to be getting more cards, I should say, not rate of packs, but the rate of cards also increase with these new Snap Packs.
Yeah,
like, I'm curious to see how that part of the system works. As silly as it is, it better be fun to open a pack, because if Pokemon TCG Pocket taught us anything, it's that the thrill of opening a pack, even digitally, is a lot of fun. So if I only get to do it once a week or twice a week or 4 times a week, or depending on how I'm accelerating, and if I'm a newer player, even more than that, that shit better be fun as hell to open a pack in whatever capacity. If you swipe it, if you have to bite the phone or what, I don't know what you got to do, but like, whatever you got to do to open a pack. Well, that's how you open a pack. Sometimes you gotta get the corner to just
bite the phone. If you got to bite the phone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for you. Don't bite the phone. Don't bite your phone.
Ideally not, but you never know. So I think that it's going to be cool to see how the system fully rolls out. And I'm excited to kind of dive into this a little bit further with people once they decide that, they can tell me things. But as soon as I know more, I will gladly share it in every possible social media, as I normally do, just like deck lists. So keep an eye on that. As soon as I know more, there will be some kind of content for it. Absolutely.
Guest is the employee of the decade from Marvel Snap and Second Dinner. So he will get that information. He will get it to you guys as soon as he can. I cannot wait to see that. My main question, and I think I should ask the wonderful people at Second Dinner, is what happens to the Spotlight variants? I'm not sure if they answered that already. I don't know if anybody else asked that question, because probably other people don't care as much as I do for Spotlight variants. But with the Spotlight keys going away, are these variants now going to be in the pack that you open, or will they be in the shop? This is the questions that we need to know. Especially
the older ones that were Spotlight, because there was that very brief window that they're like, here, after a year, we'll put them in the shop for 2,400 gold.
And they were there. They were there for like 2 weeks, 2 months.
And that, because everyone said, we don't want to see a 2,400 gold variant every Tuesday and then feel awful about ourselves. Like, it was a bad decision. Let's be honest here. It was a bad decision on their part. But not
where they're going. That's the question. We don't know where they're going. If they're going in packs, I totally understand that, right? Because now open a pack. Hey, look, I got a Spotlight variant from last year that I didn't pick up, or X, Y, and Z. Or look, I got Spotlight variants, right? Because it goes back to us, those who have been playing for a while. We open a pack, we'll get the new card and the new card. What else do we get, right? Unless, because most of us are collection complete. Because, of course, we are content creators that we want to go ahead and make the content. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of questions around Snap Packs. But the one thing I can say about it is it's better than the key system, Spotlight key system. Yes. And it's a great way to help returning and new players get the cards they want the way they want to. So
yes.
I'm happy about that. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to see Snap Packs released in Marvel Snap. And yeah, of course, we're going to stream it that day because you guys get to see what us wonderful content creators get, because I don't know if we're going to get anything special, but nonetheless, I can't wait to see what you guys in chat get, because go ahead. So
I might as well say this. I was debating if I'm going to say this or not.
Please.
But yeah, I'll share this. So the day that Snap Packs comes out, well, one of the 2 dates, I should say, that are projected right now. One of them is one is June 3rd, I think, is the one, and then April 29th is the potential early date. Correct. Right? Whenever that patch is, it'll be one of those 2 dates. I am praying for everything possible that Snap Packs comes out on February 29th, because yours truly will be on the front page of Twitch.
All right, let's go.
So I got front page, and I would love to be able to feature Snap Packs, because I will convert that into one hell of an event.
Yes.
Sorry, April
29th.
April 29th.
Yeah, April 29th.
You know what I meant. April 29th or May. You know what I meant. Shut up. All right.
Yo, chat is brutal. Chat is brutal.
Chat is brutal, which is what I'm used to anyway, at least on my live stream. But like,
yes,
the 29th and the 3rd. Yeah. So April and May. So yeah, you got the idea. So either way, the next 29th that appears in your calendar will be another front page stream. We're going to introduce more people. Last one, I played Marvel Rivals for the front page. This one, I know 100% I will definitely be playing Marvel Snap. So we're going to have a good time. We'll make it a big event.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm going to do? Just in case, I'm going to try to get on the front page for June 3rd. This way, one of us will be on the front page.
Yes.
Playing Snap Packs.
Secure it.
For you guys. What? You guys heard it here first.
Yes.
We're going to try to get front page for Snap Packs. The Snapcast will be there for you guys, I promise you. So that's pretty awesome.
Let's go.
Now, speaking of awesome things to get into, OTAs. So every week we see awesome people, chat included, content creators, kind of give their take on what they feel the OTA is going to be. And we want to do that today on this episode because a lot of things are happening, especially with the cards we just mentioned. But of course, cards have been in the game for a long time. When OTAs come around, we get excited, we feel down, we feel X, Y, and Z. But on this podcast, we have predicted a lot of OTAs, not because you guys may feel that, we have employees of the month here on the team, but because we know the meta. We play Snap way too much, and we understand what frustrations are out there and what cards need to be, loved, right? So in this wonderful segment, we want to give you guys two of our most needed OTAs in the game, or what we feel our wish list, shall we say. And I'll kick things off on my first one. Guess we'll do his. We'll go back and forth. I understand that Starbrand came out. We saw the resurgence of the wonderful Sauron, but it did not have Shuri in it. And people, Shuri Sauron was a thing. If you guys watched my stream earlier when we did the classics. And I still think Shuri needs something. Yeah, it won't be an Infinite. I'm not even talking about Infinite or Sage. I'm not even bringing them up. But I think Shuri definitely needs a buff. Now, I don't think she needs to lose power or costs. I think, mentioned it today, we have the Wakandians in a nice order, right? We have M'Baku, Okoye, Nakia, Shuri, Panther, all in those cost range, right? We have nothing on the 6, but that's fine. Shuri staying at her 4 costs, but becoming a Shuri's lab. I know I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think not allowing her to buff a card in another lane, we don't need that anymore because we had that meta. But making her a Shuri's lab to where when she's played, the next card that's played on her, not the next card that's played, gets that buff. Because again, playing Shuri makes no sense in this day and age. I don't think anybody's going to play Shuri because 2 things happen. You play Shuri, somebody's going to retreat because they're like, okay, I can't stop you. Or you play Shuri and they know, okay, I'm going to wait and just Shang-Chi the crap out of you because you got to play there next. And I think to make Shuri more of a, a hey, I already know it's going to happen, right? More of a surprise. I think more people will play Shuri, and I think should be a better card for it. So for me, my number one OTA change is definitely hoping that they do something with Shuri to bring her back to where she needs to be.
Take it one step. So clarify one thing for me. Do you want Shuri to act in the same manner as Shuri's lab, or do you want it to change the location?
No,
just for one turn.
Because I don't want
any card that's played in the next turn. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Do you want it to do that? Because
no,
there's a part of me. There's a part of me that thinks that could be a really cool mechanic and could even justify her once again at 4/1, where she changes the location to Shuri's lab.
I don't know, because we already have Shuri's lab, and I think Shuri's lab become that type of a game where people see it, they just start stacking, or they try to figure out ways to get it. This is more so a strategic play of, all right, I'm gonna play Shuri on 4, and then on turn 6, I'm gonna drop my one card there that I need to, because I don't want my opponent to get the benefit of Shuri's lab. You know what I mean? I want me to get that benefit. So just the next time I play on Shuri, I should get that buff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do it that way, that I could see that way working. But at the same time, I could also see it being unique where it's also a location changer. So the worst thing is drawing Shuri on turn 6. Everyone pretty much who plays Shuri knows that. You draw Shuri on turn 6, it feels like crap. 90%, 95% of the time.
Location,
bingo.
It won't be.
Then you've got a magic controller. You've got a, negative controller. You've got, even if you play nothing else in the location, it still changes the effect of that location. And that's why I could even see it justified as a 4/1 once again.
Yeah.
That changes the location.
That turn off magic, turn off limbo. I get it. I understand what you're saying. But my change, if you do pull Shuri on turn 6 and you play a card after her, that card still gets that buff. You're not waiting for the next turn, right? That's kind of what I think Shuri needs. But I do like your idea as well. I think at that point, I mean, either way, I just think she needs something and not a power or cost reduction. I think she needs a whole rework to where she makes Shuri's lab, or she is Shuri's lab for that turn.
Okay.
So what is one of your OTA changes that you would prefer?
This one was honestly tough because I typically every week try to put out a post. We'll talk about it on stream, and we'll say, here's what it is, or here's what I want, my predictions, wants, needs for the week, etc. And I'll put out a list of things that I think are worthy of getting addressed. The first one I'm going to talk about after thinking about it is the best deck in the game, in my own opinion, keyword. The best deck in the game is Scream still. And that deck only has been addressed in one way, which was taking one power off of Arrow. And it is, especially right now, in a Captain Carter meta that wants to be there via second dinner, but can't be there because cards like Scream, decks like Scream exist. I think this is the perfect opportunity with the future release of Dum Dum Dugan. They're going to want to keep location changes, those decks. Maybe they're going to want to have to hold those back a little bit to strengthen the season pass. So I am still on the train that Scream needs to be a 2/0, not a 2/2. It gains so much power already in that deck. Just make it a 2/0. I don't think it's not gonna stop a lot of Scream players from playing the deck, but it will change the win percentage of that deck, because 2 power in Scream's lane, especially in a off lane, is definitely felt. So I think that we could justify Scream to being a 2/0 1000%.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. I don't like Scream decks or Mill, so I totally agree with that. And everybody coming in wishing me happy partner anniversary. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for that. We need more deck slots. Yeah, we know that. That's 100%. That's going to be a patch fix, not even an OTA fix. We need a lot of stuff, guys. So my next my next OTA change. I was thinking, all right. I mean, everybody's been talking about it, but I really think it needs to happen. And that's a nerf to the Winds of the Watum. I think that card is too powerful at -5 with its wonderful move the card to the right. I think, in all honesty, if you want to keep it at -5, only apply -5 if you're able to move the card. If you can't move the card, no negative, anything happens. Or make it a -3 and do whatever you want at that point. Keep it the way it is, but make it -3. Zodrix, thank you for the raid. Raiders, everybody, thank you so much for the raid today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to have a giveaway at the end of the podcast for you guys, bringing in all the love. I really appreciate it. Another raid. Who was the raid from? We got Unfit Parrot. My guy, welcome on in, Unfit Parrot. Thank you guys for the double raid. I appreciate both of you. And of course, bringing a wonderful community here and trusting me with them. We're doing a wonderful live Marvel Snapcast podcast on my partner anniversary stream. Thank you for the wishes, Zodrix. I appreciate it. We will be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream, so make sure you guys hang out. We do have some other giveaways that are currently going on. Of course, if you guys do #retro hat, I'm giving away a retro hat, 1 of 1 with my signed signature. So you guys do #retro hat.
Hey,
of course, I'm doing a giveaway for the Mech bundle. If you guys donate to Technically the New Camera Fund, it's right there. We're at 36% funded. We get to 50%. I'm giving away 2 of these bundles. All right. So many just get to 50 and my lady will handle the rest. All right, guys. So thank you again for the wonderful wishes in the raid. And yeah, that is my other OTA change. I think we 100% need Winds of the Watum to be nerfed. And like I said, if it doesn't move the card, it doesn't do the -5, or make it a -3 and keep it the way it is. Yeah, I got you, Zodrix. I'll sign your hat for sure. And guys, don't forget the next segment is questions and answers. Hope you guys been getting your questions ready, because Guess and I is not holding back. Whatever you want to ask, we will answer. Guess, what is your other nerf or buff for the OTA you want?
I went back and forth about, because I wanted to do, 1 buff and 1 nerf. If we're just gonna, choose, like, from an OTA standpoint, what do we really, really want? Yeah. And I was stuck between 2 for the buff side.
Okay.
1 is a really long time card that everyone loves and has, but doesn't play. And then the other one is a relatively newer card that should probably see an increase in play. And I'm going to lean in that direction.
Let me hear this.
Yeah, I'm going to lean in that direction. We'll talk about Spider-Woman a different day. I believe that Penny Parker should absolutely get a buff, because
that's fair.
It 1000% is a really cool and unique 2-tiered card, but it is incredibly clunky to get it to do the 2 different effects, yet alone the effect, the 2 different effects that you want it to do. And it saw, it saw a very small amount of success in Wiccan decks, because if you had Quicksilver, Penny, and Wiccan, game over. You have all 4 cards because of the mechanic.
Right.
I think that Penny Parker should be a 1/2 that keeps her exact same effect. And then the SPDR becomes a 2/3 with a condition. So remember, the Penny Parker side of things is whenever she merges, a card merges into her specifically, you get the +1 power, +1 energy, excuse me. +1 energy. It's nice to be able to play it at the same time as an agony on turn 2, for example, because then you move to turn 4. You get 4 energy, I should say, right away on turn 3. But a 2/3 SPDR that specifically says merge with your lowest cost card is a very interesting card, not because it's no longer random.
Yeah.
Kind of like how they addressed Viper. Similarly.
Yeah.
I think that they do the same thing here, because then you can move that card next turn, where even if this were to merge with, Human Torch, it's a 2/3 that merges with Human Torch. It goes from a standard 1/2 to now 5 power, and it can move next turn to 10 power. I think that that combo.
That's a good one.
By getting to turn, because you can't do that any earlier than turn 4. I think that's more than justified. And I really like that for Penny Parker. I think that the card is, it's 2 cards in one. It's just like, why we like Agamotto. We like the generation of unique cards and effects in there. We want those cards to exist in the game that create unique scenarios, because you don't know where the usage of those scenarios could also, be played out. And it's just a fun tech card. If you look at the journey that Snow Guard went on and is technically still on, if it's very much so the same kind of idea, where the 3 cost generated card is very, very weird to get it to do the thing that you wanted to do at the time in which you get it in your hand. So I really like the idea of playing Penny on turn 1 and the SPDR on turn 2 and still get that, hey, look, this is now a total of a 3-5 investment that ended up giving you for turn 4. You now have, for turn 3, you now have 4 energy and a movable 5 power card. So I think, because by then you always know all 3 locations. So if you want to move into what would be a dead location by that point. Like, there's some cool things that could really happen there. And it gives us another mechanic for the 4 cost card ramp, which I think is very valuable. Just like Psylocke, just like Ravonna Renslayer. This is another mechanic, but now you start that engine on turn 1. And I think that's a lot more fun.
No, I agree. I like that. I definitely like that idea. I think Penny needs it because she's definitely not getting played at all. And that idea makes her a way better card than I even expected.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Hawking on Limbo. Ramp on 4 on 3 with Agony into Penny. Can you already ramp up if you play Penny and then Agony? Can you ramp up on the? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yes, you can. Correct.
The Agony works. Yes,
you can currently do. Yeah, but as of right now, you would have to have Agony plus Penny plus Wiccan to make that line work. In this scenario, it is literally a single card mechanic. It is a Penny into the SPDR into Wiccan. So you build it, you make it happen. And you want that to happen quickly, because as it's even being noted in the chat, it very much so is a concern if you play it down at any other time, because it can get destroyed very easily via a variety of different mechanics. Yeah, Killmonger gets that part ruined. Lady Deathstrike gets that part ruined. Hell, you could even do some cheeky things on the offensive side where you take Penny, play it down, and then misery it. Get 2 SPDRs for 2 costs in your hand. Quinjet's on the board, and then you can start moving a whole bunch of stuff around. Like, there's cool. You can literally make Quinjet fly. Like, there's really cool things that you could do with that. You know, so I like that. I like that idea of having more utility with Penny, which is what I think the purpose of the card was supposed to be. It was supposed to be utility, allow extra energy and allow movement. And right now, it's too clunky to do it.
Agreed. No, April Fools, I'm with you. I love turning off Limbos with the Hawk as well.
Yes.
From that wonderful card. All right. No, I agree with you. I love your 2. I love my choices as well. Let's see what happens this OTA. If any of those 4 cards get adjusted, you guys heard it here first, right?
Hey.
All right. We know Second Dinner's listening, so that'd be awesome. All right, guys. So we get to the point of the wonderful podcast where you guys ask us some questions.
No, it isn't.
No,
it isn't.
Why not?
Because we didn't even talk about what we missed.
My bad. Oh my goodness.
You missed the section called We Miss.
I missed the section called We Miss. That was intended, guys. I definitely missed what we miss.
Totally.
All right, so what we miss.
I love being your editor.
Wonderful Marvel Snap. I know. Isn't it the best thing ever?
Always.
I'm going to let Guess go first on this one. Guess, we miss. I missed that wonderful topic on you.
Yeah. So what I miss, and I was asked, what do we want for topic number 5? I chose the we miss idea, where I wanted to look at, what's happened over the last couple of years with Marvel Snap. And there have been great metas. There have been great moments. There have been great events. There have been lots of cool stuff that has happened over the span of the last 2 years. And a lot of those really cool things were just one-offs, or they were just moments of time. And one of the things that I missed that I'd love to see come back was the limited time event. The season where we had those fun. 2 weeks of X-Men versus Avengers, where the whole game was affected by +2s on these 2 synergies, and then +1 on this, on Iron Man and this. And like, that was such a fun mechanic that I think is probably more of a solution to keeping the game fresh than game modes, in my opinion, because it's just like in OTA where, the imbalance patch, that's what it was called as well. Thank you. It was just trying out different things of like, listen, what if you had the idea of alliance missions, but they were all the time and you were incentivized to play them in your decks because you benefited in game. That was the whole purpose of the imbalance patch. It was, here, let me buff these things randomly. If you play these 2 cards together, boom, awesome, you get more power. And more power means chances are you're going to win. So there were some really cool things that happened. And with now almost 300 something cards or something like that now. I don't even know what the total is.
So many cards now.
And more are coming, obviously. There's so much that they can do, whether it be lore wise, whether it be just like thinking of archetypes. I think the imbalance, limited time events, like those adjustments to regular ladder, even if it's just for 1 week, it doesn't have to be a 2-week event. Even if it's just a 1-week feature for ladder that week, absolutely is something that should be revisited. I really do miss that. And that was a lot of fun.
I agree. I don't think it has to be tied to any type of movie or holiday.
Exactly.
I mean, they could have, right? Daredevil, they could have said, hey, play Daredevil and Kingpin in the deck and get +X power for it. It could have done a lot of things.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think especially for alliances and keeping it an alliance always thing, I think it'll be pretty cool. So I definitely think that's an awesome miss from Marvel Snap. I definitely like that. What I miss from Marvel Snap right now, besides a 2-cost Hell Cow or a 2-cost Lady Sif, is of course the simplicity of Marvel Snap. I think we're getting into a realm where cards are becoming Yu-Gi-Oh based. And I'm like, why are we even doing this? So I say that because I looked at the future cards coming out, the Merlin season.
Oh my
God, I'm like,
yes.
What in the bluest of blue hell is these cards doing? This is way too much complications here that I don't think we need in Marvel Snap. So I miss the very simple, the purpose of Marvel Snap. When they mentioned this, when Ben went on stage and told people he wanted cards to have 1 or 2 lines of text, not a Yu-Gi-Oh based lines of text. And reading some of these cards in that Merlin season, what's going on? I miss a nice, simpler time in Marvel Snap. But yeah, I mean, those are things that I miss. And I also miss, I know Guest doesn't like this, but the dump of cards. Because I think the best time in Marvel Snap is when I got She-Hulk, Sino had Super Skrull, Willow had Galactus, right? Somebody had Thanos. Like, the meta was such a beautiful meta because it was we had 10 cards drop, 2 series, and everybody didn't have the same cards at the same time, and everybody had different decks and different combos, and it was just the best time in Marvel Snap. And I would love that to happen again. We're at a point, I think 3 years coming up, that we should be able to have that type of dump of at least 10 cards one time in mid-season of Snap, where we can just have a blast and the meta just be something completely different. Because today, and I'm sure tomorrow, when we get even more cards a week, the meta is going to be determined by the counter or the help, right? Because right now, what is the meta? Super Skrull is the meta right now. And we knew this. We knew this going into this. Super Skrull, Enchantress. We said this. There's no, rocket science for that. And I think that's the kind of thing that I miss, is the ability to to have a meta where it's fresh and different. So those are my topics on that.
I think
Ditto should be activate. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Daredevil is activate. Good idea in the chat here.
Yeah.
Something else that I really miss. Well, I'll have to be very specific here. I miss participating in the ways that I normally did. I miss regular community events. The first year of Marvel Snap had an incredible grassroots competitive scene that was so fresh and so regular and ran by some amazing people. And we had so many tournaments. We had weekly tournaments. We had monthly major tournaments, whether you were looking at the different websites that hosted tournaments, like SnapFan had the weekly one. They had the monthly one. Rally Cry was holding them. Lambie was holding them. I was holding them. Like, there were so many different people that were holding tournaments using the tools that we had. And it from an organizer standpoint, it was difficult. I'm not going to lie. It was absolutely difficult. But from the community standpoint of, what am I doing this weekend? Oh, I've got a Snap tournament on Saturday. And if I do well, I could be there for 7-8 hours playing, a bunch of games of Marvel Snap for competition. And casting those matches, obviously, you guys know how much I love casting Marvel Snap. It's ridiculously fun, still to this day for me. And
Agreed.
I would love to see the tournament scene of Marvel Snap come back. I'd love to see, especially because right now, this is where I speak to the camera, because right now we're about to enter a very different phase of Marvel Snap. We have an ability in Snap Packs for new players to come to the game and accelerate faster than any other new player has ever been able to have before. And tournaments, I've said forever, is exclusively a mode of marketing for these IPs and these games. It is exclusively marketing. So now giving them a reason, those who aren't playing Snap, to start wanting to play Snap because there is a thriving tournament scene again, is something that we should revisit as a community. And more importantly, I invite Second Dinner and Skystone and anybody affiliated with Second Dinner to really consider, because we are now in a phase where we have an established game, established results, and you're looking for the next group of people to come join the Marvel Snap community. This is that moment. You have Snap Packs coming out. I would love to be able to see the synergy between the community and Snap Packs, and now tournaments are back again. That would be incredibly fun. So I scream this out to you, Second Dinner and friends. Please, let's get community tournaments back in the Marvel Snap scene. And please, even more so, maybe an official one.
I agree. Well said. The first in-person tournament, as we spoke about it earlier when we were watching my old classic Snap matches, we did Creator Clash in February, myself, Loot Muncher, and Kawa. And that event was so much fun, getting people to come out to New York and be in person. And we thought for real that this was just a stepping stone and more people will be doing this and getting involved. And even Second Dinner saw how great it was and they would do it. And, it kind of didn't happen that way. Myself, guests, others, as you guys Snap Judgments, Power On Gaming, we do tournaments as much as we can as well, in person and online. You guys just finished watching the Infinite Invitational Tournament and how much fun that was. And there's so many different ways you could do a tournament. So I 100% agree with guests on that. Back in the day, everybody was having tournaments. Broadway was the gentleman that would go to everybody's Discord and post tournament this week, tournament this week, tournament this week. Yep. Broadway was that guy. He was the tournament. He knew everything tournament that's happening.
Everyone.
Oh my gosh. That's how much I remember how much tournaments were happening. Broadway had like, hey, can we add a channel just for tournaments in your Discord? And I did that. I went to look at that channel the other day and I'm like, wow, look how dry this channel has become.
Yeah.
Because the tournament scene has dwindled. And I have no problem holding tournaments. Guests have no problem holding tournaments. Others have no problem holding tournaments. But again, we definitely need the backing from the big dogs to show that this is something that's, fun to do. And again, you want to bring more people to your game. I don't see why not put in that time and that effort to make it happen. If you look at overseas, go ahead. What you want to say, guys?
You're kind of segueing into a point I wanted to make, because we briefly talked about in the past, the fact that in the Chinese release of the game, they did their first experiment with tournaments.
Yeah.
And
correct.
That's an episode to go re-listen to in and of itself, or a monologue to go re-listen to in and of itself. I forget if I talked about it with you or if I talked about it on my stream, but I went into a full detail explaining why internationally
it was on your stream.
It was on the stream. Okay. Just fully explaining internationally speaking, how difficult it is to have to deal with rewards that are, of a currency that could be from distributed to somebody anywhere in the world. It's just legally for lack of a better term, a clusterfuck. But
correct.
What I think, could actually happen, and I'd love to hear people's comments of this more than probably anything we talk about today. How would you feel if tournaments happened inside the game itself, in client, so PC and mobile, by having it exclusively be things that you could win of in-game resources, because they take the least popular part of Marvel Snap, Conquest, and take the fact that we want some kind of competitive mode. This is basically a lot of those pieces already. Just mold the clay a little different and let us have little miniature tournaments, and the winner of the tournament, whether it's an ongoing regular one, an 8-person fire off, like whatever, like something along those lines. What if you repurposed Conquest into a tournament game mode rather than just a featured tournament event? If you want that, please comment it, because it's the only way I think we'll ever actually see it in game. And I've without having to build an entirely new game mode as a developer, which it would just be probably a cluster of a reason to never do. But they have the pieces. It's like, just build it. You have the Legos. Just build the Legos differently into a different shape.
Listen, you can get rid of Conquest altogether and make high voltage Conquest.
Yes.
Right? Add the variant in high voltage.
Yes.
Make that your Conquest. Turn Conquest, as you mentioned, it's your tournament mode, and give us some dials to say turn off locations. And that's all we need. We do need a spectators, but I'm not even going to ask for that. We're not going to ask a spectator.
That's got to be future after proof of concept in client.
But I do love the Conquest being swapped out for a tournament mode where people get into a queue, it matches people up, and voila, we pick the rules, right? 8 people, double elimination, etc. I think that would be flawless. That's genius. I hope they do that, and make your high voltage. If you want to give away variants, make it high voltage. And again, you need something quick after ladder just to get your wonderful variant. So why not make it high voltage? Yeah. Everybody be happy. They love high voltage, and people who don't want to play ladder, knock yourself out and play high voltage all you want.
Yep.
Right? I think that would be the best thing ever. But I think
it'd be a good idea to use high voltage more regularly. I mean, we saw that basically in the fact that we're getting it. Isn't it back-to-back months now?
Yes, of course, because people love it. They play it more than anything else. Just make a Conquest. We don't need Conquest anymore. Make that Conquest. Make Conquest a tournament scene. Victory. Everybody wins all around. Who needs gold tickets anymore? I'm telling you that I had 17 gold tickets for no reason. But nonetheless,
exactly.
I totally agree with that. I think that makes all the sense in the world, and that would be a phenomenal thing if they pull that off. But the tournament scene, I don't know why Second Dinner doesn't want to focus on esports. I mean, realistically, Snap was supposed to be a casual game, which I don't think is a casual game anymore. Not the way they're making these cards.
Right.
This is now a competitive game, and they've seen the tournaments, guys. They've seen the tournaments. These tournaments aren't Oh, okay. I'll just try to win. Oh, okay. No, it's competitive, smart playing, knowing when to snap, knowing when to retreat, all of that stuff. It's a very competitive game. I don't know. I think it'll be huge. I think the fact that it's very simple and it can be competitive makes them a higher tier than, let's say, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because Yu-Gi-Oh, you still have to, you can have multiple cards of the same card in the same deck. You have to have 60 cards or 40 cards. There's still a lot of things going on, where Snap is very straightforward, very simple. And to be competitive, I think it will be huge. I think it'd be huge. Draft mode, I'm sure draft mode will show up. I'm sure they even mentioned it on a roadmap some time ago. So draft mode, at this point, it would be cool. I'd rather have a tournament mode, to be honest.
Agreed.
Now you guys can ask your questions. I messed up and did it earlier. Any questions you guys have in chat, let me know. And of course, we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream. All right. So does anyone have a chat they want to say to me or guess?
Yeah, please, the Chinese, asking, kind of like talking about it there. The Chinese client has a version of a draft mode, which is basically not a draft mode. It's them literally taking a pre-existing idea and seeing if it works in client. And if it's really that successful, sure, maybe someday we'll get it over here, but I highly doubt it, in my opinion. I highly doubt it.
Right.
Where'd you get the hat? That's one of the questions.
I got it from as one of the questions. I got it from an online shop, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be an IT manager for high-end retail on Madison Avenue in the city. So I knew a lot of shops that have different type of clothing, hats, etc.
I swear to God, if you say it's this little boutique called Amazon, then I'm gonna be really disappointed in you.
No, it wasn't Amazon. No, not of course. No, not Amazon. It's not Amazon, guys. But thank you. How should boutique. Second dinner buff Infinite and Agatha? Of course, White and Brady asked that question. Is guest gaming, where should I visit in Brazil?
If you're gonna visit anywhere in Brazil, there's basically two or three ways you should visit Brazil. The number one way you don't visit Brazil is you don't go to Rio, because if you go to Rio, chances are you'll be robbed, mugged, or die. So that's just it's just not good. It is not a safe environment for tourists, yet alone the people who live there. I would highly recommend staying away from Rio. If you do go to Brazil for any reasons, you go to a little tiny town called Campos do Jordão, which is basically, imagine you're in like a German village, and it's in a little bit further south in Brazil, and it actually gets cold. They had snow even there a couple of 2 years ago. I want to say they had snow there for the first time in years, and it looks like it's traveled back in time to the old days of Germany with the types of buildings and construction that are there. Yet it has an incredible tourist scene. Lots of breweries and wineries and in the mountains, and it's an absolutely gorgeous little place. So that would be one location. Going to Bahia would be another location, because you go to an all-inclusive resort and you never leave the property. You just enjoy the beach at the all-inclusive. You enjoy the amenities of the all-inclusive. You do not go to the local towns, or you just stay on property and enjoy the resort for the resort as it is, and you'll have an absolutely insane time and not spend a lot of money, because they're relatively cheap comparatively, at least in US dollars converted. I'm going to say those are probably the two best ones. I'd obviously then have to say number 3 is come hang out with me. I'm down here in Sao Paulo, and I'll cook, and I'll take you around the town and the city, and we'll drive around, and we'll have a damn good time. I'm still waiting for you and Lori to come on down here. I will have a field day.
I'm ready.
Have a field day if I get the two of you to come on down. So come on, man. Let's go.
I'm ready to make a trip. All right. Next question by Duke. Can ladder be improved for new players? You get to Infinite, then you go and you get thrown to the wolves playing against 20K plus collection level, while a sub 2K still missing 50 plus cards, Series 3 cards. It's not fun playing against these decks filled with 5 Series cards, and Conquest is not my favorite. Listen, Duke, I think With snap packs, that might change, right? Because now you'll be able to get those cards you want and be able to compete. But I believe ladder, even after ladder, post ladder, is based on your MMR. So if you're going up against these guys with these awesome cards, guys and girls with these amazing cards, it's because you're that skillful. But no, I think it will improve when snap packs come out. I think you'll be able to get cards and it won't be so lopsided.
Yeah, I mean, it's a downfall of being a good player in a new system, because you come into playing against people who are also downloading the game for the very first time, but they maybe have never played a card game before, ever. This is just a mobile game that happens to have Iron Man in it, and they love Iron Man. So maybe it goes down that path for them, versus you, who download it for the first time because you hear that, hey, look, the Marvel Snap game is having in-game tournaments. Yeah, cool. I'll download it because that sounds like fun. I've never played in a tournament ever. And some people say, yes, I played in tournaments for the last 20 years. So yeah, you're going to end up same thing on ladder. You're going to run into that. It
depends.
So if you make it to infinite, you've established, even against the bad players or that have been in the game, the new players who have never played the game before, the bots as well, that you're at least a player of some level of competency with the age of deck that you have. But your deck should probably restrict you anyway from being a top player in the first couple of months, because you don't have certain cards anywho. So I think the system's fine. Honestly, it's a nuisance, but a justified nuisance.
Yeah. Can we fix Gambit's text? Like it can be more specific, not just any card. I mean, you remember Gambit was a time you didn't need to have any card in your deck. You just destroyed the whole side of the field. But I think you want a more, the kind of discard that we have now with Blade and Colleen and Lady Sif. But I think that's not Gambit's style. I think Gambit's any type of card kind of guy. So I don't know if Gambit's text needs to change on that level. Who is your favorite Snapcast host? It got to be Sino right now, because Sino comes in.
Sino hands down.
He's our favorite. Sino, all five of them.
Yeah,
Sino.
It's the top 5 votes right there. Definitely, it's Sino. For me, at least, it's specifically because of him snapping that fire. Did you hear? It's just snapping that hot fire. Yeah. So, and he does rep power.
That's the reason why he's.
To me, it seems like all day. Yeah, it seems like it's all day.
Definitely. Yeah. So he's definitely the number one guest host. To SCG guest, out of all the variants and custom cards you have, which one of your variants or custom cards do you like out of all the other ones have made? My favorite variant. Jeez, so much of them.
I was about to say, it's probably a tougher question for you, so I'll let you think about this. I know what mine is.
You
because I have a lot less cards than you comparatively.
Yes.
So I am a huge fan of the Heimdall split that I have, because, and it's not a card that I play very often, but I've talked about it. I think it was with the Marvel Yap guys, Tucker and Not My Dance, where it's a Heimdall variant where he's shoving I forget the name of the sword, into the ground, and blue lightning is shooting out of it. And
yes, I like that variant too.
It's got this very rustic color to it, these like deep browns and golds, and it's just a great variant in and of itself. But then I put a bronze background behind it and the ice border on it. And the ice border is the exact same color as the lightning blue that's shooting out of there. So it just has this great contrast going on of like these deep, earthy, rich browns, and then these popping bright blue accents from the card and from the rigid border. It's probably my favorite combination of great card variant, using one of the effects that you unlock along the mastery track, and a unique border put all together. I feel like it would be taking away from it if it also had a flare, because the flare of the card is the lightning coming out of the ground. And I absolutely love that variant. It is hands down my favorite variant I have currently in my collection, just because it is so unique, yet it really works within the art that already exists.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, there's so many variants I love. The Galactus, that Galactus with the perfect colors, with him sticking his hand out to Kyera. It's one of my favorite Galactus variants of all time.
Yep.
Shang-Chi, the Shang-Chi from Kim Jacinto is just so flawless with the dragon behind him in the background.
True.
That was my favorite for a very long time. Yeah. And then of course, there's one variant I've been showing off recently. I'm trying to remember right now. It's I can't recall it, but you guys come to the stream. The variants that we have and the splits on them are just so epic. I can't just choose one, but those two for now, I can definitely talk about. I'll show them right after this for sure.
Yeah,
I'll show them right after this. You guys will see those variants. All right, we'll pick one last question and wrap things up. And we got one from Zento. Would it be a good suggestion to mention the second dinner? Could they do a poll on what card abilities should be changed to give us a few options to choose from? Intriguing. So it's talking like OTAs, what abilities people should be changed to? I think they don't even need that. They get that from us already, right? Based on how we play with cards.
Yeah, and you open up
pay for anything.
You open up this like legal perspective too, where hey, I had influence on this decision on behalf of Marvel, and then you financially benefited from it. It can be a little bit leery sometimes to do that kind of stuff. So it would have to be done very particularly if there's community involvement.
The Black Swan was good.
I do think that there is an open door in the future for something of that nature where, say, for example, they have already a pre-approved list of mechanics. So card cost, and they build a card as what we'll call like a generic shell. Like it's not themed to any specific card, it's just a generic card with a cool effect. And then they put it out to the community, kind of like how we had the voting for vote for your favorite variant when we had, what was it? It was Team Ghost Rider, Team Shang-Chi, and Team Armor? No, what was it?
Yes. No. Shang-Chi, Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Armor, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, Shang-Chi, and
Armor,
one other one.
Armor.
Was it Armor?
Armor. Yeah, it was the armor that has the
That feels wrong.
I'll show you the armor. Oh, Human Torch.
Human Torch. That was it. It was Human Torch.
Yeah.
And we had the little campaigns going on. So what if they did something along those lines where it's like, okay, we want to bring, pick random Marvel character so-and-so to the game. What mechanic do you want it to have? Boom, boom, and boom. And then whatever the community chooses, that's the mechanic that's implemented onto the card. And that I think would be cool because all three mechanics would have to be approved first as cards, but then it's just slapped onto whatever other card. Like I could see that kind of thing happening, but to put out to the full community of saying, we're going to truly listen to your changes. Like as much as we talk about it and joke about it here, that Second Dinner listens to the podcast and they're, clearly we're predicting the changes at the end of the day. They're doing changes based on different data versus our data and personal opinions and feelings. Yeah. So sometimes they align. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've predicted quite a few, as have you, but you run into some legal issues if you really push it too far to
that level.
With accountability of you're the person who said this and then it happened and now this sucks. Boo on you. Like we don't want that to also happen either.
No. And I do think Shuri should be activate too. I think I did mention that some times ago, but Shuri being activate won't be bad either. No, I don't want to be activate. I'm wrong because I want Shuri to be able to work the turn I player. All right. So we have somebody here asking, said, I just started like a month ago and I haven't paid for anything and I'm having a blast. We love that. We love to hear that.
You're going to love it even more soon.
And I'm about to say until you hit that wall, but snap packs will fix that problem.
Yep.
Because without snap packs, you won't probably like it as much as you think you would.
Yep.
And then of course, first time chatter, Lord to Mortal, change Kang. I love Kang. I've gone infinite with Kang. I play Kang every season. Leave my Kang alone. Kang is not a problem. We love Kang here.
No, we need to change. And should you pull the
trigger on the season pass? Yes. If you like, we need to change Kang. We'll get into that later. If you do want the season pass card, I think you should get. It's your first time playing the game. Go ahead and get the Season Pass card. You won't be mad. And the last question we have here is, what other games do you play? I play a plethora of games. Yu-Gi-Oh! We play Marvel Rivals. Mm-hmm. I play side scrollers like Streets of Rage and Turtles that I will be playing shortly with Gaming with Flash. And I play, other games offline like Spider-Man 2, Zelda, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, big Smash Brothers fan. I play Madden, big Madden player as well. And 2K Wrestling. And I think that's about it that I actually play currently. Gas, what about you?
Marvel Rivals is definitely my number 2, barely in second place game right now behind Marvel Snap.
Hey, Adrian, thank you for the contribution, buddy. I appreciate you, man.
I think.
Continue. Sorry.
I know, like you, I've kind of like backed away from Pokemon Pocket. Like I'm enjoying it, but now I've just been card collecting as of recent. I'd love to see that changed in some capacity. I've been on PS5. I've been replaying the Batman series, so I'm in Arkham Knight right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Very, very good. And
Invasion.
I'm just waiting to figure out what my next personal game is going to be. It might be, man, I don't know. Like I'm constantly on the fence about it, because it could, as someone who's constantly on the move, especially, like I've really enjoyed just being able to
thank you, Rainmaker.
Play mobile games is fine by me. But something as simple as like Legend of Mushroom even is silly enough that it's a lot of fun. Man, it is. If you haven't tried it, I'll put something out there for Legend of Mushroom. It's It's a very simple, silly game, and it's a great way to pass time. Like, if those games that you want to play when you're just sitting in like the doctor's office and just want to be mindlessly clicking. That's that kind of a game, and it's so good. I've been enjoying that a lot. But yeah, like console PC, it's this is my full-time job, so a lot of gaming time on the PC is work time. So very often, if I do want a game, it's either on my phone or on the PS5, because I never do content for PS5 on stream. It is in a whole nother room intentionally, so there's never the temptation to do it. So someday, we'll maybe look into, like, for example, I have my original N64. Maybe I'll get a capture card and connect it to the PC and play, retro that way.
Let's get that Switch and play some Mario World when it comes out. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I need to get more. I got to get a better hard drive first for my computer, because I realized I keep running out of space because I only have 500 gigs. And as someone who makes I have the slots to do it, but I need to put a couple $100 into some slots, get a couple terabytes in here.
I get it.
That's first, and then maybe we'll talk about Switch in the future.
All right, fantastic. All right, guys, again, thanks for hanging out with us. This was awesome. I greatly appreciate the guests taking the time to come and doing this live. We normally record these on Thursday nights and we promote it on Friday, but things will be changing. Sino's time has changed, so we'll be changing times, and we'll be coming out in a different time on probably Friday. So we'll let you guys know that in a tweet. So make sure you guys follow us on all the socials, and you guys will find out when the Marvel Snapcast new time will be. It'll be the same place, just a different time.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right, sir. So until then, guys, follow all the socials. Have a good time. Have a blast. We appreciate you guys for the questions, and we'll catch you guys on the next podcast. Peace.
Peace.
All right, guys, thanks for coming out, man. Let's let people know where they can find you.
Hi, you can find me on my regular home at youtube.com/@MarvelSnap, and you'll find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/It's Guest Gaming, and everything It's Guest Gaming.